Hello. Let me know if you see me. Hello, everyone. Let's just see if I popped into the group here. Yes, I see myself. And let's just see here. Hello, everyone. Let me know you're joining me. I see one eyeball has found me. Ann Winters has found me. Awesome. Drop a hello if you are joining me here. Awesome. I see Sherry gave me a thumbs up. Drop a hello below. Jennifer has found me as well. Awesome. Please drop your name below if you're joining me. I know we have huge amount of requests for this, obviously, when it comes to muscle building. People always want to know. So give me a flex emoji if you're popping in here, since this is a muscle building live. I see Gina, Jackie, Delana, awesome. All right, drop a hello if you're popping in here or on YouTube. I'd love to know who is watching as well. Hi, Rosalinda. Of course, muscle building, you're on here, right? Rosalinda competed back when she was 57, so she is fierce and strong. Awesome. All right, this is live number 120, 5 common mistakes on muscle building that women make as they age. So if you're new here, this is the Fierce Woman community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, I know that we have lots of popular topics, but muscle building is obviously one that is very common amongst women as they age because they often find it a struggle to build muscle. I'm actually curious who here. Oh, hi, Kat. Good to see you. She was in the previous program. Kat has lots of muscles. Hi, Jennifer and Letitia. So I want to have a show of hands. How many of you on here find it difficult to build muscles, like as you age? Say me or yes. Do you find it difficult to build muscle as you age? Do you find that a struggle right now? Drop a yes below or hand up so that we know you're with us, because I think that's the common struggle amongst many, many women. Hi, Lori Lynn and Lori Williams. Good to see you guys. So first of all, I'm going to jump into some wins as you guys come in with those comments. I see lots of me. Yes. Yes, it's very common. So I want to, first of all, give a shout out to all the anti-bloat challenge participants who are in our anti-bloat challenge right now. I hope you're enjoying the challenge and the food. The salads yesterday looked really, really good. I really loved. Some of you guys are really, what do you call it? Like, you guys decorate your plates so well. It's very, very nice to see. I definitely don't decorate my plates that well. I just eat my food. I just eat it. I don't decorate it super well, but you guys make it look so good to look at. So hi, Kathy. Good to see you, and Gina. And actually, I'm going to even pop all in here because I know that when I do that, then more people can see that. Awesome. All right. And I also want to give a congratulations to Adelina Bogdan, as well as Cindy Cormier. They have already signed up for the next 21-day anti-inflammation system. We are starting that in a couple weeks here. So it's just about 2 weeks out. So we're really excited for you, Adelina, Cindy, as well as Wanda has already signed up for that as well. So if you are, if you are wanting to really learn how to permanently bring down that gut and the bloating in your belly, and not just through 4 days, but actually like a full-on education of how to do that. That is through the 21-day anti-inflammation system. And that one has a 10-day gut reset detox challenge as well. So if you want to learn more about the 21-day anti-inflammation program, put 21 below, okay? Hi, Claire. Hi, Wendy. Difficult to maintain, lose it faster if I fall off and don't exercise constantly. Yes, exactly, Wendy. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And Rosalinda says slower, but much better. Exactly. It's slower, but if you are consistent, you still can move forward. And I know Rosalinda knows that. All right. So yeah, put 21-day below if you want to learn more about the 21-day anti-inflammation system. If you are in the anti-bloat challenge right now, this is kind of like just a mini taste of what is actually in the 21-day program, which is much more comprehensive with modules and things that you have to do. You have to go shopping and you have to show me your labels. Obviously, all the specifics around inflammation is addressed in that program. So put 21 below if you want to learn more. All right, let's, and I see lots, we'll address those. We'll get back to all of you, Wendy, Delana, and Jackie. So let's start with mistake number 1. What are the 5 common mistakes for muscle building that women make as they age? So the first one, I actually spoke about it last week. And the first one is not eating enough food. Now, I'm going to give you kind of different perspectives on this under this point, because actually, if you know me, I'm actually not super black and white, and there's a lot of things within a statement. So I'm going to break this down for you. Now, do I think a lot of women struggle with eating more food? I do. I think this is a more common than too much food, but there's the other spectrum too. But I want to talk about this first. So if you're wanting to build muscle and you're in a caloric deficit, it is really, really difficult for you to put on muscle. And you have to be willing to surplus your calories a little bit, but surplusing your calorie is not necessarily the same as bulking. So there's bulking and then there's body recomposition. So I have done a live before in regards to body recomposition. So bulking is when you really surplus at a high amount, and you will need this if you are a bodybuilder and you are looking to gain like a significant amount of muscle. If you're looking to gain a significant amount of muscle, you probably do need to surplus at quite a high level, right? Like I ate at 2,200 when I was competing for nationals, right? So, and I'm only like 5'2". So I was definitely eating at a lot, right? So do you need to bulk to gain muscle? Look, the answer is not necessarily all the time, but depends on the amount of muscle you want to gain, okay? So if you want to gain some muscle, but not go crazy like a bodybuilder, you may not necessarily need to bulk, but you may still need to eat more calories than what you're eating. So I want to talk specifically also about body recomposition. So I specialize a little bit more on body recomposition because that's where most people like to stick. However, if there's a competitor like Oshone, I may push her up towards a really high surplus. But body recomposition is where you are trying to lose fat on your body and like lose, like the belly and things like that on your body. But you are also looking to gain a little bit of lean muscle. So you can gain lean muscle under body recomposition. You don't necessarily have to surplus at extreme amounts. I do think a lot of women are, hi Tara, good to see you. I think a lot of women are really scared about the surplus, like the bulking, but body recomposition sounds more reasonable or doable for a lot of women, which is you're losing fat at the same time, but building lean muscle. So that's kind of where I usually sit most of my women, because most of the women I coach are generally lifestyle, like they want general lifestyle. They want to look good, lean, but they're not necessarily looking to step on stage to get to, a lot of muscle. So now with body recomposition, you still need to be in caloric surplus a little bit, or I'll say that again. You need to be, you still have to have enough calories, but you can be in a slight caloric deficit, just a little bit, to allow yourself to be able to drop fat and gain muscle at the same time. You just cannot be in an extreme amount of caloric deficit. So for those of you, a lot of women I coach, they are typically eating down below, let's say 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200. These are all very, very low numbers. So if you are around those numbers, you are quite low, and it's going to be really, really hard for you to gain muscle. You definitely need to be above those basal markers if you really want to gain muscle, even if you're not bulking. So that's why I'm describing it to you guys, is that you could choose to go into a bulk, or you could choose to do body recomposition. But if you want to build a lot of muscle, surplusing your calorie is going to take some careful, dialing, and you really need to know what you're doing without, gaining a lot of fat, right? You're going to gain some fat in surplus. If you are bulking, you probably will gain a little bit of fat. But if you want to do this the right way, let's just say you want to body recomposite and then you want to slowly build muscle without gaining a lot of fat, you need careful dialing and working with someone who knows how to do it carefully without jumping your calories like crazy. So this is the tough part, because a lot of mistake. So this is the first mistake, right? A lot of mistake that women make is the fact that they don't eat enough calories. They're not surplusing enough, but they don't know how to surplus more. And if they surplus more, they are afraid they're going to gain a lot of weight. So this is kind of where I'm curious, how many people feel like it's you don't eat enough? If you put I don't eat enough below, if you feel like this is you. If you feel like, yeah, like I don't eat enough, or I'm scared to eat more, put it below. I know lots of people popped in. Hi, Cheryl, good to see you. Delena, you're interested in the 21-day bloat challenge. Yes, we will reach out to you. And Silver Frost. Awesome. So that put below if you feel like you don't eat enough, you're afraid to eat more for muscle gain. Put that below. So another thing is, I see Delena, you said I don't eat enough. Yeah. Another thing is, if you are wanting to build more muscle and you are wanting to surplus, okay, typically there is some talk around pre and post workout. And Kathy Machalico, don't eat enough. Yeah, depends on where you are now, Kathy. When you last ended with me, I think you were 1,600, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it depends where you are now, Kathy. So with surplusing, there is a such thing as pre and post workout a little bit. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to give you the howevers behind it, okay? Because there is a lot of talk around pre and post workout. And is it important to have a really good pre and post workout meal for your muscle growth? Yes, it's important to have good nutrition around your workouts, for sure. Because if you do crappy nutrition, you're not going to build any muscle. Yes. And if you are looking to really build a lot of muscle, I would say yes, a post-workout meal that is heavier is quite important. Vivian, if you're on here, I don't know if Vivian's actually on here. Vivian, she is really, getting up there now. She's working with me for a while. And so I have actually placed a specific type of meal or recommendation for her after her workout. Now, I don't do this all the time, but because she is really on track right now in muscle building, so I do actually really work on more calories, more carbs post-workout. Now, post-workout is the time when your body has the most ability to absorb nutrients. It becomes like a sponge. It absorbs carbs faster, your insulin rises, and your insulin actually will bring down cortisol. Cortisol kind of rose a bit during exercise, but then this rise in insulin will actually bring down cortisol a little bit, and it actually stimulates the mTOR process, which I spoke about a long time ago. Your mTOR process stimulates protein synthesis. So because there is this signaling in your body after a workout, some of your nutrition and having more nutrition at that time can really help with protein synthesis, especially if you are in a very high, you're really training for high amounts of muscle growth for, let's say, competition and things like that. Now, I see Silver Frosty said, I probably don't eat enough. How do I intermittent fast and eat enough at the same time? Well, so Silver Forest, sorry, I said your name wrong. I'm not a big fan of intermittent fasting, but that might be something I discuss with you more in Messenger. So we'll reach out to you in Messenger. I think that as women age, especially if you have huge amounts of muscle you need to build. Intermittent fasting is a really tough one to work on, but there's again specific situations around that. So I have a caveat in regards to post-workout meals and eating more calories. Okay, so I mentioned this in a long time ago in one of my really first lives around nutrient timing, and I said that actually nutrient timing is not that important if overall in your day you do not have balanced nutrition. So let me say that again, your nutrient timing is actually less important than overall balanced nutrition. So what I meant in that specific live is that if you are not balancing your nutrition in your protein, carbs, and fat throughout your day, having a better nutrient timing pre and post workout is not going to make that much difference because you're not actually overall fueling your body properly. So overall, your nutrition over the day is more important than the specific timing of your nutrition, unless you are a high level athlete. That will change if you're a high level athlete. So why I bring this up is for a lot of women, they may focus a lot on nutrient timing, and they might want to eat more if you want to surplus your calories. But then if you are not like actually, actually healthy overall in your day, or you're not eating well enough, you're going to actually still shortchange your muscle building process, because overall you're not getting enough protein, overall you're not getting enough carbs, and overall you're not getting enough fats. So that's the caveat to that. So the for this first point, I want you guys to tell me, do you feel like you're lacking in macro balance, like the way you're balancing your macros, or are you not having enough calories? So it could be one or the other or both. Okay, you could either not have a well-balanced macro during the day, or you do, but you don't eat enough calories and don't surplus the right way. So which one are you? Are you macro balance, like that you need to work on? So put macro balance. Or is it that you don't eat enough calories to produce the muscle growth? Okay, so which one are you? Put one or the other. Marga says not enough calories. Yes, Marga, that's very common. And that's why I bring that up for a lot of women. That's just a really, really, common issue. A lot of women don't eat enough. And yeah, Jennifer says, I feel like I need more protein. Right. Yeah. And Jennifer, for you, because you are on macros with me, as it changes, I may need to help you dial more, just like Vivian. Vivian's dialed now 12 times, I think, now in her macros. Wanda, oh yes, not enough macro balance, Kathy. Okay. So at least you know, Kathy, though, you know, like what you need to work on and whatnot. So, so it's one or the other. But if you had to ask me, if your macro balance is not there, fix that first, and then go fix the surplus issue, okay? Because if your balance of your macros is off throughout the entire day, you chug a big protein shake after your workout, still not gonna be that great and effective, right? As if you actually balance your totality of your macros. But if you are good with your totality of macros, then you really surplus at the right moments, then you have gold, right? Then you have the magic key of how to really push for that muscle growth. Yes, Sherry, surplus calories, getting balance. Yes, both of them. Awesome. Hi, Laura, good to see you. All right, mistake number 2. All right, so mistake number 2 relates to mistake number 1, actually. And that is, for a lot of women, they're not getting enough protein. Now, Jennifer actually referred to it and says she might be thinking she needs more protein. So a lot of women don't actually eat as much protein as they think. They think they eat protein, but they really are eating more carbs. A lot of it is because the choices of food they're eating. And in terms of specific protein amounts, because protein is one of the most valuable macronutrients for building muscle. the research on protein amounts, yeah, Kat, you eat all the time. That's great, Kat. That's awesome. I know that you build lots of muscle, so that's really good. So the research on protein amounts varies. So it's so broad that that's why I don't really, there's not one specific one for you unless you are, being worked with a coach and someone who knows you, because it ranges from 0.8 to 2.2 per kilogram of body weight for protein. That's a huge amount. That's almost like more than double of what is like standardly recommended. So because it's so wide in this protein intake, it's like it really depends on what you need in your body, what kind of training protocols you have, and even at the level of how heavy are you lifting. Because a lot of women, as they age, you guys are not picking up that heavy, maybe 15, 20, 25 pounds or 30 pounds. You're not picking up 145 pounds. Maybe you are, maybe 200. So, you could be lifting, but your amount of protein need is different from someone who has a different protocol. So this is like there's no specific amount that I would say right off the bat. You would have to work with someone who knows that, or specifically calculate it in your numbers and play around with all the amounts through it, right? So now, why do I talk about aging women? So aging women need more protein. So I would lean towards a higher range for women that are aging, particularly all the women on here are aging and menopausal and all of that. I would lean towards a higher amount of protein intake. And so this is because there's a lot of things that happens as you age. So your stomach acid production decreases as you age. Your digestive enzyme activity decreases as you age. Your gut motility changes as you age. And therefore, there is a decrease in efficiency to absorb nutrients in your body. So this, as you age, there's a lot of things that changes in your body that makes it harder for your body to respond to protein. So this is why I actually recommend going higher in protein, because as you age, you have that much more working against you for absorption. You actually cannot absorb and uptake protein to the same amount. So I would lean towards more protein than not. Okay. Now, Rosalinda said, yes, more protein, but getting better. Good, Rosalinda. And remember, getting more protein is, and I guess this is the next thing as part of what I want to say to Rosalinda, is not all protein is made equal. And you can try to get protein through a lot of things like nuts, but being very careful with how much nuts you have. Because I know that was one of the things that we really worked on, Rosalinda. So not all protein is made equal. So this is my caveat, because I say higher amounts of protein for all of you aging women, and we want to give you more protein in your body. But because not all protein is made equal, you need to ensure quality of the protein you are eating. And why I say this is because there's a lot of women out there who is looking for all these like protein things and protein shakes and protein bars and protein this and all of that. And half the stuff you take in that says it has protein in it is not healthy for you. So we have to stop. It's like we need to know the importance of protein, but stop the obsession with protein products and going down a wrong route. And I know that Rosalinda was vegan, and so she went for all these kinds of vegan protein products, but it was working towards her detriment, as we found out later in her program with me. And so being very careful of like evaluating your protein, just plain meat. Yes, Delana, exactly. Have more natural types of things in there versus all of these like products and supplements, and being very careful of protein shakes. Yes, Rosalinda, I know you very well. You were in my program before. So be careful of protein shakes. So, like in point number one, I said pre or post workout, you need more calories, you can get more in. And a lot of people will down a protein shake. Now, I'm not completely against protein shakes, but I am going to say that for a lot of women, especially, you know, in the aging kind of category, like of getting older, the amount of stuff I see in the shakes you guys are taking is horrendous, you know, what's in your products. And so be very careful. Don't just try to go, oh, well, this Fit Pro said have more protein. That Fit Pro said have more protein. And suddenly you're just on this protein wagon, and somehow you still can't build muscle, or somehow you still have a gut or belly. And so just really being careful. You have to evaluate the quality of your food. Okay. Silver says, I agree, too much sugar in those products. Oh yeah. Too much sugar and a lot of inflammatory markers. I think I've looked at so many protein shakes, and sometimes I can pull out 7 inflammatory markers in one protein shake without a lot of people knowing it. And so that's what's scary about a lot of these things. Is that's why I said there's a caveat to it. Like, I say a statement like you should have more protein, but then if I don't explain it, a lot of people go off to the grocery store and start buying all these things. And so I want to make sure people are very, very careful around this. And so I speak a lot about this in the 21-day anti-inflammation system, specifically what are inflammatory markers you need to look for, and how not to fall into the protein trap, and how to know what are the right things that you need to input into your body. So again, if you are like, you know, not sure about a lot of the ingredients you're intaking in your body, and you want to learn more about the 21-day program, put 21 below, because that is where I talk a lot about these like shakes and inflammation markers and all the things that are hidden in the food that you eat. Okay. So, hi, Kimberly. Hi, Ursula. Good to see you. So that's number 2, is you need more protein, but you need to know what's going into your food, and don't just like randomly buy things that says it has more protein. And if you want to learn more about inflammation markers, then put 21 below. Okay. So mistake number 3, I see Marga and Josie, we will reach out to you. Awesome. So mistake number 3 is doing the same workouts for too long without periodization. Okay, so periodization is a big word. All it means is it refers to a systematic approach to organizing and structuring your workouts to allow it to progress, right? So you systemize a workout and then you progress it in the right ways. So you can progress it through increasing intensity, increasing volume, increasing frequency, and increasing exercise selection. So you can increase it in different ways. Now, when you periodization of a workout program helps prevent plateaus, overtraining, and it allows your body to just have more new signals to it. Okay. So when I work with my clients, typically the ones who are further along with me, they do form checks with me. So what happens when they do form checks with me is I want them to first get it technically correct. Then the next thing I will ask them is usually either increase the weight or increase a technique to make it harder. Now, Tana, are you on here? So Tana is working on pull-ups right now. She's getting really good at pull-ups, but she's using certain bands. And so I was just giving her feedback last night on how to change the bands for the increase in the way she's doing her pull-ups. And then I also told her, let's change the way you're holding the bars. And so in the way that people, like when my clients are sending me form checks, I'm actually periodizing for them as they send me form checks, and I am actually working with them in the moves. So because what happens is if you don't change something for too long and it's the same thing all the time, you are going to stall out. You will stall out, and then there won't be any muscle growth. So for a lot of women, there's something that's called the familiarity bias. So it means that you get used to doing the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. And you go to the gym and you do the same thing. You go to the same cardio machine. You go to the same stretching area. You go to the same, you do the same thing. But nothing ever really changes. So I'm actually curious, is there anyone on here who has a familiarity bias? Like you do the same thing all the time when you walk into the gym? Because if you do, that's normal. I mean, I mean, I do the same. I go to the stair climber. That's the first thing I go to. But of course, the workout after is different. But I always like my stair climber. So I go to that stair climber. So who here struggles with familiarity bias? Maybe some of you do. And this is something for you guys to think about is like, are you doing the same thing too much, too long, the same? Now, if you are progressing your workout, like as in like you are changing it, or you have a coach who is helping you progress the difficulty or the technical execution, then you're okay. But if you're doing the same workout over and over again, then you're not going to see the change that these are common mistakes, right? These are 5 common mistakes I'm talking about. So this is quite common that women do the same thing. And there's something that they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah, Kathy, you're familiar. You do too much familiarity things, right? So that's the thing you have to remember is you don't see the changes in your body, right? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So here is the caveat. Jennifer says, I see people in gym doing the same things. They look the same. Yes, for years. Actually, Pamela's not on here, but Pamela Height, who did my transformation program and muscle accelerator, she is she works hard in the gym. She goes consistently all the time, even before she met me, but her body never changed. And then she started doing the transformation program and muscle accelerator. And then this guy, this big dude at the gym walks up to her and was like, you've been coming for years and years, but this is the first time I see you've actually changed. And she told me this story. We were overjoyed because she said, yeah, like her body just never changed for years until she started doing the programs and progressing the way that we talked about. So, and she said that guy was there many years with her. So that was a huge compliment, like this big, like jacked dude walked up to her. So that was really, really awesome. So yes, Jennifer, there's a lot of people who go to the gym who look exactly the same year after year. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Erica. Good to see you. So here's the caveat though. So I always have a caveat to my statement because I don't want people to go black and white. So I said that a lot of people don't change up their workouts enough. But the caveat is that you do need to stick to a program for about 8 to 12 weeks, if not 4 months. I think 3-4 months is a really good time frame to really get familiar with the program and with the move. And within that program, it doesn't mean you won't progress it. You can still progressive overload it. You can still make it more difficult, but you want to stick to that one program for a while. And why is that? So I've explained this in another live before, but because there is something called the adaptation phase in your body. The adaptation phase is a neurological conditioning, meaning if you've never done Bulgarian split squats, and the first time I tell you to do Bulgarian split squats, all my clients can attest to, you're like, that is a really hard move. But what happens after 12 weeks? You're like, hey, this move is not so hard. Because the neurological adaptation of your body takes between 8 to 12 weeks to establish, meaning if you jump around and you try all sorts of different workouts too quickly, you don't give your body the chance to neurologically adapt to the move and then to build on the move, right? That's how you can get really, really good at a certain movement, by doing it enough times and then building on it. So it seems like I'm kind of like going both ways. I'm saying people don't actually vary their workouts enough. And then I say you need to stay on a program for at least 3-4 months or 3 months. So what I'm saying is that you should have a program where you can stick to that is a base, like a skeleton. Okay, so like certain things, like you're working squats, you're working Bulgarian splits, you're working certain chest presses, certain chest flies, should be a skeleton. Now, then within that skeleton, you want to have a coach or have someone who is progressing things in there with you, who is progressing maybe the weight or the technique or the variation of the angle within those moves. but stay within that program, because that's how you get stronger and how you can build strength and build better hypertrophy muscles. Okay. Jennifer says, my butt still hurts the day after Bulgarian split squats. Exactly. That's a prime move for the butt, but no, that's good to hear, Jennifer. And your butt is growing, Jennifer. So it's like the skeleton and building on it. It's kind of like a house. If you don't build a good foundation, you cannot build the house on top, right? But let me ask you, if you keep reshifting the foundation and you keep shifting the foundation and you keep like pour concrete, then do something else on your foundation, you can't ever build something on top of it, right? So that analogy should help you think like there has to be a solid foundation. You do need a good program, and you need to have something you work at for 8 to 12 weeks. But don't stay there for 2 years. Let's say like 2 years and doing the same thing with no change. Not helpful, not helpful, no growth, right? And so there's a few things to think about. So you want to progressive overload your program. Progressive overload is taking that move and learning how to load it more, whether it is in intensity, the way you do it, or in weight, or in frequency, or in number or sets. You want to take that workout program and progressively overload it, okay? And if you're not sure how to do that, then you might need someone to help you with that. But from progressive overloading, then variation can come after, okay? Because once you have progressively overloaded, then I can like put a lot of different variations after it because you've already like built that stream. So it's progressive overload and then variation. So what I see as a problem is that a lot of people, oh, hi, 35 eyeballs. I'm not even looking over here. Hi, 35 eyeballs. So the variation, sorry. Oh yeah, so the thing I'm seeing is that people vary all the time. They vary all the time. They go to YouTube, they find this workout, they find that workout, they find that workout, they find this workout, and they don't stick to a solid program. And that will be your downfall to why you cannot build muscle. How many of you, I'm actually curious, jump around too much? Can you put jump around below if you feel like you jump around too much? And this is very common in our culture of too much information. We are in a culture of too much workouts available. Anyone, you can YouTube any workout. You can YouTube any move. You can get anything, but it will be to your detriment if you jump around all over the place. So how many of you feel like maybe you jump around too much and you don't stick to a solid program? Anyone feel like that? Put it below. Put jump around if you feel like you jump around too much. Or there's the opposite. If you feel like you're the opposite, like you don't change, like you're plateaued in your workout, there's no change in your workout, then put plateau. So which side are you? So again, like each of my points have both sides. I'm trying to highlight both sides. Are you jumping around too much? Or are you kind of like plateau or stale? Maybe you're stale. Your workout is stale. It's the same thing all the time. Which one would you be? So put it below. Hi, Patrice. I see you joined us. Awesome. And Sheila and Jody. Awesome. Previously jumped around, Sarah. Yes, I think you told me that. So you've been much better since we talked. Yes, maybe jumping around not as much. Yes, thank you, Sarah, for contributing. Okay, and then I have one more caveat. Okay, so there's a lot of things, and this is why I say, when you hear a fit pro say something, like including myself, you always have to evaluate all the things. And that's why I always like to give you guys multiple perspectives. So I don't want you guys to be too black and white. Kamiko says, kind of plateau, but have injuries to work around. Okay. So if you have to do like physio exercises, that's different though, right? Because then that's not a goal of building muscle. That's just to rehabilitate your muscles. But I'm glad you're aware, right? Sheila says jumping around. Wendy says not jump around, consistency for me, feeling like I'm starting over sometimes. Wendy, thank you for putting that, because this is my other caveat. Okay. You guys ready? So if you lack consistency, then that must be addressed first, okay, before any of these other things. So I cannot progressively overload someone who is not consistent. I cannot put more variation in someone's program if they are not consistent. And so Wendy, you actually jumped in at the exact right time on saying that. So that's why we can't take this black and white, because if I said you don't vary your program enough, you're like, oh, Clarice says that I'm just going to go around and vary my program all over the place, but you're not consistent, doesn't help. Then on the opposite side, if you are like on a program and you're like, I need to be on a really structured program, I need to get a good program, and I need to progressive overload it. Like we need to progressively overload this program, but you're not consistent, then everything is null, correct? Right? And so this is some hard truth, because what I find is sometimes as a coach, my clients may ask me for a new program, but I don't give them a new program yet till I know they're actually really consistent. Because I know if they're not consistent, like let's just say they work two days this week, then 3 days next week, then miss a whole week, then do 3 the week after, but they say, hey, I would like a new program. My response is always, okay, let's work on getting you back to a consistent basis, because you're not going to grow muscle if you're not consistent. All right, do you guys all agree that that is actually your first and primary thing that you need to focus on? If you struggle with consistency, work on consistency first, then it's progressive overload, then it's variation for you to have the right muscle building potential. So Lori says stale, struggle with vertical. Yeah. So Lori, you know, maybe with vertical though, you can still have a program designed for you that works with your vertical, but can vary it, because one of my clients, Vivian, she struggles with vertical, and we've actually varied her program a few times already. Silver Forest says she agrees. Yes, exactly. So I'm curious, actually, like who here feels like they lack consistency? So if you feel like you lack consistency, I want you to put structure and accountability, because if you lack consistency, that's what you need, not variation in program. If you lack consistency, you need structure and accountability. So put structure and accountability there if you are struggling with consistency, okay? But if you struggle with progression and variation of your program, then I want you to put programming there, okay? Because then that's what you need. You need better programming. Okay, so there's 2 different issues here, right? So if you struggle with consistency, then you need to put, I need structure and accountability. If you struggle with progression and variation of your program, then you need better programming. Then you should put better programming, right? And this is identifying for yourselves why you're not maybe building muscle the way you want, right? I see a lot coming in. Yeah, you guys all agree on that consistency, struggle when I don't see results. Yes, Rosalinda, consistency is very important. Sherry says structure and accountability. Yes, so Sherry, you need, because you're lacking consistency, right? Portia is programming, so that tells me you're struggling with progression and variation. So this is very, very, really good, because you guys are identifying for yourself what is the problem here, right? So Sonia says structure and accountability. Letitia, structure and accountability. So all of these that are structure accountability, all of you struggle with consistency, right? So yeah, we'll reach out to you on this, and Claire as well, structure and accountability. Yes, and Wendy says, and I see a lot of you, Claire, Delana, progressing. Yeah, progression. That's what you're saying, Delana. Yes, awesome. We will reach back out to all of you, and you know, I know a lot of you guys are just identifying for yourself what you need for moving forward, right? So awesome. So that's mistake number 3. All right, let's go on to mistake number 4. So this one also is not surprising. Again, these are 5 common mistakes. So I'm sure you have heard me talk about this, okay? Mistake number 4 is you are overstressing your body, and therefore there is the presence of cortisol. There is the C word right there for you. And cortisol is catabolic, means it breaks down your muscles. When you are building muscles, you want an anabolic state. You want to build muscle, you want an anabolic state. But if you have the presence of cortisol, then you will have a catabolic state. So this is really an interesting one, because there's many factors that causes women to have high amounts of cortisol. I'm going to go through some of these different things, and I want you to identify, all 40 eyeballs on here. I want you to identify which aspect is causing you to have too much cortisol in your system. If you have too much cortisol in your system, you're not going to build a lot of muscle. In fact, you not only will not build a lot of muscle, but look down and your belly probably is fluffy. You don't necessarily have to have a massive belly, although a massive belly does indicate it. But if it's fluffy, a lot of times that's cortisol building up in your system, okay, in your belly. So number one, cortisol comes because you are mentally stressed all the time. Your life is chaotic and you are always like running around with your chicken with your head cut off. You have lots of deadlines, lots of responsibilities. And I know as women, we all are like that. I feel like that sometimes too. So sometimes I need to talk to myself too. We have a lot going on. You guys are mothers, grandmothers. There's a lot of family responsibilities. So if you're really stressed and mentally stressed all the time, that can cause cortisol in your system. Tara has stress. Yes, you definitely, yeah, you mentioned that, and health challenges too, but it is getting better. So this one I would say is really, really huge to focus on mindset. Okay, mindset work is very crucial. And it's one of the biggest things I work with my MA, my muscle accelerator clients on, because mindset, once it goes, you see the spiral happen. How many of you have been there before where you've like spiraled? You know, you spiral because your mindset went, or some major thing happened in your family or life, and you just spiraled and you just can't come back. You've just spiraled so far, right? I see Wendy says stress as well. Yeah. And so working on mindset, it doesn't mean it will solve all your problems, but mindset does help to control cortisol. So if you, know you struggle with mindset, put mindset below, because that's something that's a big thing I work with my clients on within the programs. It's probably the most important aspect I work on in Muscle Accelerator. And I know in FFF program, Oshone now coaches that program, but like, it's like, she teaches that on every class, right? FFF ladies, she teaches a lot on mindset, or those of you who have Beate had coached on mindset a lot. So put mindset below if that's something you really struggle with, because that will take away your gains. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm interested to see who might fall into this category, but there is a lot of women who overstimulate their bodies with caffeine, pre-workouts, and fat burners. Okay, so if you take a lot of stimulants, I see lots of mindset coming in. Oh yeah, I see that. And Katrina, yes, I do know mindset's a big one. And Lori and Delana and Kathy, yes. And so yes, thank you for identifying it, and we will connect with you. So, and I see the spiral too. Wendy is, yeah, it's hard when you spiral, right? You have to really get some good mindset and pillars. I often say when you're spiraling, you need someone who is not spiraling with you to help you, like the person on the shore. Like if you're drowning, don't ask your friend who's in the river with you, you know, ask the person who's on the dock, who got to the dock safely to help you, right? Because you're spiraling already. So it's not helpful to be in the crabs in the bucket together, right? So number two is you're overstimulating your body with caffeine, pre-workouts, and fat burners. So you might not really think this is really serious, but it is. Like our society has coffee everywhere. You have maybe, even if it is a caffeinated tea, you have your, your pre-workouts or supplements you take that have things in it. They can overstimulate your body. And if you're overstimulated, you're going to spike your cortisol level, right? And that cortisol is not going to help you, which is actually funny, because you're taking a pre-workout to help you work out, but it spikes your cortisol level and takes away your muscle gain. So that's why I always say, be careful about all these supplements and overtaking all these types of things. I see caffeine coming in, Kimiko, Delena, so you guys recognize that. So if you have too much of this, you might be taking away from your workout gains. And so, yeah, put below if you feel like, yeah, you have too much caffeine or pre-workout or fat burners or things they're taking that is just not to your advantage. Okay, coffee is a biggie for me. So Portia, you might want to be careful that, especially as you age. I mean, this is really interesting because honestly, when you're younger, you can get away with so much. Your body can process so much through your system. But because as you get older, your body cannot process these things through. They affect your body at a higher level. So you have to be even more cautious. If you drink a lot of coffee, it's like, ask yourself, do you need it? And I was there before, trust me. I was a school teacher and I drank 2 Starbucks coffee a day. I was stressed out as a teacher. And I'm very proud to say I actually am off coffee. I don't drink much coffee at all. I mean, I might go once in a while, but I like had quit because I just didn't think I needed it. And I don't think we need to stimulate our body that way. And actually, when I drink coffee now, I can feel this like really uneasy feeling because it's your adrenals, right? Your adrenals are going. So you just want to be careful because these things you think might be healthy for you are not healthy and taking away your gains, right? Jody says, can you feel cortisol or effect of it in your belly? When I felt I was being stressed, I would feel my stomach do something. Yes, Jody. Really good question. So what she wrote there, I know on YouTube, nobody can see these comments, but Jody just asked, can you feel cortisol in your stomach or your belly? This is 100% yes, because I talk about the gut-brain axis. So if you are stressed and you're producing cortisol here, which affects down into the glands here, it actually travels through a nerve into your stomach. I believe it's called the vagus nerve. It travels down the vagus nerve and then actually affects your stomach and affects your digestion. High amounts of cortisol actually impedes digestion and impedes gut motility, meaning your gut cannot move food as easily through the system. And Jody, I specifically talk about the gut-brain axis in my 21-day anti-inflammation system because of how important and the connection between stress to your gut. And if you are stressed, you're going to have likely poor digestion and stomach issues. So this is, yes, absolutely 100% on that. Yes, it is the vagus nerve. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, exactly. I only drink 1 pre-workout, not much of anything else, Tara. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you feel. Is your progress there? Is the pre-workout necessary? And what's in your pre-workout is my next question to you, Tara, right? So I don't think, Tara, you took my 21-day program. In there, I talk a lot about the specific compounds and chemicals that you really have to look out for in these supplements, right? So so if you have put caffeine or supplements that you're struggling with, that we will reach out to you. And if you want to learn more again of the 21 program, put 21. And there's a third aspect of cortisol is you are working out too hard and not enough recovery. So you're working out too hard and not having enough recovery. So it could be the opposite. Maybe you're training and overtraining in the gym. You're doing too much. You're doing tons of group classes. You're overtraining. I know a lot of women are like this, especially women who are perfectionists. Recovering perfectionists, everything I tell you is probably things I've worked on myself. So I'm just laughing at myself. So it's like you want to keep pushing, you want to push hard, you want to train and train and train. In fact, I felt like on my national stage, I felt like I didn't bring the best package I could on my national stage because I trained so hard. It was like, and that last layer on your belly was just so hard to go. It was cortisol. And that's something I wish I could have known back then, but I just am I'm a driver. I work out hard. And so what I share with all of you is the same as like, don't overtrain and don't push yourself so hard that you then get injuries and then you have cortisol and then you can't gain the muscle you want and then you have belly fat depositing in your midsection, right? So how many of you think that you might overtrain? Maybe a little bit. Maybe you overtrain, or you can just put cortisol if you want, or put overtrain. Shoni knows that too, because she's competed a lot as well. So we're speaking from experience with you. So how many of you feel like you overtrain and have cortisol? That can be another big reason of actually taking away your gains, right? Not having proper rest and recovery. Put that below if that is you. All right. So I see, and Portia, I see 21. So we will reach out to you in regards to that. All right. And then mistake number 5. Okay. again, common mistakes, these are things you've heard Clarice talk about, is not addressing inflammation in your body, okay? So I speak a lot about inflammation because it is so crucial. Acute inflammation is okay, you get a cut, you bleed and then it heals. Acute inflammation is fine, but chronic inflammation is very dangerous for your body. Chronic inflammation is what causes a lot of diseases and gut issues and, like heart diseases and inflammation of the brain and dementia and autoimmune diseases. Chronic inflammation creates massive problems in your system. Now, I want to make sure everyone is listening carefully in regards to this. Sorry, I'm kind of missing some comments here. Portia, creatine before working out. I think that creatine is a very well-studied supplement. It's actually one of the most studied supplements. And if it's all natural, like it's just straight creatine, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's just what they add in it, or if there's certain things within it and how it's made. But overall, like creatine is actually one of the safer supplements if they are manufactured the right way. So it's also kind of getting to know some of that, like supplements and how they make things and all of that. But yes, it is naturally produced in the body and it can have benefits as well. So hi, Doritza and Vicky. Yes, thanks for the thumbs up. So something I want to talk about in terms of inflammation. So you don't have to be overweight to be inflamed. You don't have to have a belly to be inflamed, and you don't have to be super old to be inflamed. You can be 20 years old and be inflamed. There are 20-something-year-olds who have autoimmune diseases. You do not need to be older in menopause to have inflammation in your body. My sister is very lean and she's struggling with inflammation right now, and we're working through some of those things. She's very lean, but you don't have to have these things to be inflamed. You may be inflamed and not even know it. A lot of people, until unfortunately you get hit with some sort of thing or disease, then you suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I have inflammation in my body, right? So why is mistake number 5 about not addressing inflammation in your body is taking away your muscle gain? I'm going to give you 5 things to think about in regards to why it does not help your muscle building process if you are highly inflamed. Number 1, muscle recovery. So chronic inflammation disrupts your normal repair process. You're not able to repair muscle properly. So if you are inflamed, you will delay muscle recovery. It leads to longer periods of time between you can work out, and you just sore all the time. And there's soreness of like working out, like DOMS, like kind of like delayed onset muscle soreness. And there is soreness for days and you're not recovering. I forget which gal I was talking to out of the 21-day anti-inflammation system, but she told me like she used to be sore all the time, and she just thought that's what it was supposed to be. But once she did my anti-inflammation system, she was not sore anymore. I mean, you might have your muscle a little bit after workout, but she wasn't sore. She's like, I did not know that was inflammation. I was like, let me tell you. Most people's problems is inflammation. So if you have inflammation, it will disrupt your muscle recovery process. Okay. Hi, Brenda and Belinda. Lots of people joining in. Still 40 eyeballs. I'm loving this. Awesome. Number 2, if you are inflamed, it will disrupt muscle protein synthesis. So chronic inflammation interferes with the muscle building process. So like the amount of protein synthesized is less. So if you cannot synthesize protein enough, means you cannot build muscle. You can't repair the muscle. And it disrupts a lot of the signaling between the cells and all of that. So you need to have more protein synthesis rather than less. So if you struggle with inflammation, now you will have less protein synthesis, and that's the opposite effect, right? You don't want less protein synthesis. You want more protein synthesis, because we know as you age, you have less protein synthesis. Now you add on inflammation on top of that, less protein synthesis. So we're like, no, we need more protein synthesis. So we need to address inflammation. That's number 2. Number 3, hi, Sylvie, good to see you. Number 3 is inflammation puts you into a catabolic state, which I mentioned above. Prolonged inflammation shifts your entire body into a catabolic state, and obviously like disrupts all protein building processes. And because it shifts your entire body into a catabolic state, you are always fighting against the break muscle down, and you're trying to go build muscle, but then it goes back to break muscle down. And if it breaks muscle down faster than it can build, then you will not have any muscle gain. So how many of you have actually worked out super hard and super hard and super hard? You've gotten sore and all of that, but you're like, I don't really see that much muscle growth. If that is you, potentially your catabolic state, your state of muscle breakdown is moving faster than your muscle synthesis and your anabolic state. And this is what you fight with a lot of times as you age. So if you fight with this is why you got to address inflammation. It's something you can't just go, I don't know, like I'm just going to eat healthy and actually like go work out. But if there's inflammation in your system, something is going to stall you before you can build the muscle, right? So I saw a lot of thumbs up come in. Thank you for that. So that's the third thing. Inflammation also, number 4, causes hormonal imbalances, okay? Hormonal imbalances, if it throws your whole hormone system off, you're in trouble, right? Now, we know in menopause, so many hormones are shifting already, but number 1 hormone that's caused during inflammation is cortisol. I spoke about cortisol above. The increased level of cortisol caused by inflammation in your system or by things you're taking in your body that you don't even know is causing a massive stressor in your body. And if you understand the pathway, the hormonal pathway, cortisol will always compete against your sex hormones. This is already known, it's already studied, right? So if you have cortisol present, you're going to have less presence and less conversion over to testosterone and estrogen. And I speak about this in my muscle sculpting live. Those of you who did my 21-day anti-inflammation program, the muscle sculpting masterclass that I did, that specifically addressed this issue about how cortisol takes away your sex hormones. It actually competes against your sex hormones, which, by the way, I mean, it's kind of off topic, but when you're super stressed, you typically people are less in the mood for things. And it's true because cortisol actually takes away your sex hormones. So, I mean, it's actually true. So if you're highly stressed, then you just are messing up a lot of things in your system. The hormonal imbalance, it inhibits your muscle growth, as well as if you have increased fat in your body, the increased fat can also cause an imbalance in estrogen, and estrogen can also cause kind of this inhibiting of your muscle growth. Because if you imbalance too much estrogen in your body, there's a lot of like factors that is involved with it. Some estrogen is good, and estrogen can help you protect your muscles and all of that. But I'm saying when you have too much fat come on and you have a lot of inflammation, you can set off a wrong estrogen signals. And I spoke about this in one of my fat lives about beta and alpha fat cells, and certain fat cells get triggered under different signals. And if you have high amounts of inflammation, which is actually caused by high amounts of insulin, which is caused by high amounts of sugar or carbs, that will cause your estrogen to imbalance even more. So if you kind of think about hormones, it's so complex, but this is coming back to inflammation. Number 4 factor of the inflammation is it causes you hormonal imbalance, and this will affect your muscle growth as well as many other things in your life, right? And number 5 is if you have too much inflammation in your body, it will affect your energy and performance. So inflammation often will cause you to feel fatigued, reduce exercise performance. You just can't train as hard. You're lethargic. You're not able to push as hard because you're just inflamed. Like you don't feel good. And you guys know that sometimes when your body feels inflamed, it doesn't feel good. And so this affects energy and performance. And if this affects energy and performance, you're not going to be able to build muscle, right? Because you're not able to push hard. You're not able to go to gym and consistently even. Like a lot of people don't go consistently because they say they feel tired. So people don't realize how important addressing inflammation is. Tara, when is the next 21 day? It's in 2 weeks time. We're uptaking right now. It's starting in 2 weeks. So if you put it there, we will send you the registration link. It's already, people have been registering for the program. So I want you guys all to be honest with yourself, because I went through 5 things around inflammation that is really important of why is potentially stopping you from building muscle. I'm going to name all 5 off. I want you to tell me which one you feel you might struggle with out of the 5 aspects. Okay. So do you feel like inflammation is affecting your muscle recovery, muscle protein synthesis, putting you in a catabolic state, affecting your hormones, or affecting your energy and performance? Okay. Now I know I speak really fast, so I'll repeat that. I want you guys to tell me which of these aspects you think might be affecting your muscle growth potential. So with inflammation, is it affecting your muscle recovery, your muscle protein synthesis? Is it putting you in a catabolic state? Is it imbalancing your hormones? Or is it affecting your energy and performance? I'm seeing lots of hormones coming in. Yeah, Tara and Jennifer. Yeah. And so, yeah, really, really being cautious of that, because hormones is just so critical to, well, hormones is everything. I mean, it's running through our bodies. It's just that the inflammation causes really high spikes of cortisol, right? Hormones and energy. Delena, Wendy says hormones. I'm seeing lots of hormones coming in. Kimiko, energy and performance. Portia says hormones. Yeah, so there's a lot that you guys are realizing. Oh my goodness, like inflammation causes a lot of these types of situations in my body. So again, if you are wanting to learn more about inflammation, like either put inflammation or 21 below, because that is why I built that program. Because the one thing I said to myself, if I'm going to build a program, and this is like a course, I said it has to address one of the most important factors. And that's why I built the 21-day anti-inflammation program, because I think that is the number one step you have to address. Get your inflammation in order, and then you have to work on things like macros and proper total amounts of food and nutrition, right? So yeah, I see lots of hormones. Like this is probably the most common one that I'm seeing right now. Hormones, energy, catabolic, Lori, yeah, and inflammation, Silver, yeah, awesome. And Wendy, I see the 21, so we will reach out to you. So those are the 5 common mistakes. It's not things that I think are necessarily new. I just think I'm sharing with you the different perspectives. So that's a wrap for the 5 common mistakes. What I will say, I will give one more final thought at the very end here, is I get asked about 21-day anti-inflammation system. But we are uptaking in our final week for FFF group coaching program. And so what is the difference? I do get asked a lot this. So FFF group coaching program is a full-on coaching program. You have a coach with you the whole time. The 21-day anti-inflammation system is more a course and a module. And the FFF group coaching program is much more detailed. So we are going into inflammation in your body, and you get someone that will analyze your food log for the inflammation. You have someone that is going to give you specific calories and macro assignment to you specifically, and teaching you about macros and how to eat macro based. And then have a specific, bodybuilding program to build muscle and work out and do your workouts for. So it's much more a full-on program. We are in our last week of uptaking for FFF group coaching program, and we will start likely next Friday, or we're just debating on next Friday or the week after right now. So if you want to learn more about the FFF program as well, then put FFF below. We are going to make an announcement tomorrow in the group around the last uptake for FFF right now. So if you want to learn more, put FFF below. And the last thing I just want to say is, as you age, I know for a lot of women, sometimes it's really easy to lose hope and kind of feel like, oh, this is just the body I have to live with, or I'm just never going to be that fit. I'm never going to have those muscles. And I was actually listening to a couple bodybuilders that are 60s, 70s. There's a lot of those very inspirational ladies these days. A lot of them are very inspirational. And I really loved what one of them said. And she said, honestly, she's like, just start. She's like, the biggest thing is sometimes we just doubt ourselves and doubt, can we ever get there? And she's like, no, just start. And I really love this phrase from a while ago that I heard. It's like, don't let the start stop you. Okay. I'll say it again. Don't let the start stop you. Believe in yourself and get the help you need if you need to, because if you're spinning your wheels, it's really discouraging. If you're spinning your wheels, nothing is happening, right? And so if you feel like the start stops you, I want you to put it below. I want you to put the phrase, don't let the start stop you. Because I think that's what stops most people. The start stops them and then they don't go for it. Whether it's like, going to the gym, getting a new program, maybe competing, you can do it. All of you can do it. And I really, you guys have seen examples of really fit 60, 70-year-olds, and it's totally possible. You just have to learn the right knowledge to be able to get you on track, right? Yeah. Don't let the start stop you. Tara, yay. Thank you for putting that. I think that phrase is so important. Don't let the start stop you. And Kathy, Letitia, I see FFF, so I will reach out to you, and Portia as well. So good luck to everybody in the anti-bloat challenge who's in it. And I look forward to seeing who else will join us in the 21 program or the FFF program, as you guys have indicated here. Okay, sending love to all of you. And yeah, I will see you next week.